Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Francesca.
Welcome back to our podcast, Critical Babe Theory.
I feel like I haven't seen you in so long, Sarah.
Yeah, well, my polycule has been in distress ever since you posted those videos. I've been managing my 7 boyfriends.
Oh my God. Lol. Totally. Can you imagine? I mean, I would not personally be opposed to having 2 boyfriends with whom I lived.
Yeah.
That
I feel like if this makes it online, people are going to go insane after everyone's labeled you as a conservative Christian. Yeah, no. Yeah, if I could just live with hundreds of men devoted to me.
Yeah, like a harem kind of. I would want fewer than a harem so I could really focus and get like more quality rather than quantity.
I was just reading that Fela Kuti. He got married to 27 women in the same day. But it was largely political to protect them from the government.
Interesting. Is that just what he said, or do people think that? I mean, I love his music, so I can't really think poorly of him.
He was being persecuted by the government. They actually threw his mother out of a window and she died.
Oh my goodness. Jeez.
Yeah.
But you know, this does make me think about Louise Perry.
What about her?
Well, she talks about how societies that are monogamous usually are more. Now, what are her benchmarks here? I don't know. Successful civilizations that are monogamous societies, because in a polygamous society, when men have excess resources, they just funnel it into getting more wives. But in monogamous societies, men have to they're like, oh God, I guess I have to spend it on like building infrastructure and businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is funny to me.
Well, we didn't talk about it on the podcast, but when we were talking to Zay, he was telling us about this book about...
Oh my God, right. This is crazy. Yeah.
About, like prehistoric peoples.
I guess like just was it like pre-civilizational?
Pre-agriculture.
Pre-agriculture, there we go.
That there was certain tribes that had the belief that like a baby was a ball of semen.
Like an accumulation of lots of different semen.
So like women would have sex with many different men, and they believed that like different parts of different men would like
contribute to that baby, which is, and I think, if just to get even more inappropriate, like when women are having pleasure sexually, they make usually these noises that will, if you've like lived in New York City, those noises will cut through apartment building walls across backyards. And the idea was like basically like female cries of pleasure and like babies' cries are the most sonically arresting sounds. And the reason women experiencing pleasure would make those sounds is because then it was like a call going out. So then all the men would be like, there is woman around,
Yeah.
and would like gather around to then have more sex with her for truly survival of the fittest sperm.
Yeah. And then all of these men would feel like they were the fathers, and they had different roles. Like one was like, I don't know, like
the spiritual father.
But there was like it was based on like their lineup of ejaculation. So there was like the mixer, like the guy who like his sperm kind of mixed it all up, like that kind of stuff. But we were talking about it, and I was like, this would be such a funny answer to like the rights
to Candace Owens, specifically.
Like narrative of like fatherlessness is the greatest thing ailing like specifically Black people, that like what if we came out with this plan of like, okay, here's what we're gonna do, every child is gonna have 30 fathers. We're like, we are so traditional family values, going back to...
Let's go really traditional. I mean, it doesn't sound bad to have more hands on deck.
Yeah, I would not want to be there for the night of conception. That sounds exhausting to me. But I guess like afterwards, I would feel very supported. But I think that what people were misconstruing your Instagram videos. Do you not want to talk about this?
No, I'm happy to talk about it. It's fine.
I just think your point was like, I think that like the right doesn't have a monopoly on like families, and that when you're thinking about it, like there's nothing like I guess that like what New York magazine and the New Yorker, you know, like they put out these, like I remember, do you remember that article about that woman who wrote that book about her open marriage, and it was like very sexually explicit, and she had like 2 children? Do you remember this?
No, but it sounds like required reading, Sarah.
It was horrifying to read about. I was like, I cannot believe one of her sons had read the book and one of them hadn't. But I was like, I cannot.
Okay, this is ringing vague bells. Continue. Yeah.
Like the article starts out and she has just like had sex with one of her lovers, and then she's like texting her husband like, don't worry, you're so much better than him, but then she actually accidentally texts her lover and then her like kids are sleeping upstairs. Like it just sounds so
messy.
Yeah, but I think there is just like the specific brand of kind of like Brooklyn open relationship that like people feel inspired to write and then pitch their, you know, personal
editors.
stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's annoying.
Yeah, I mean, what's the gravest sin of that article that I was complaining about? It's annoying. Also, also just like from a structural perspective, one of my mentors, Sam Lipsyte, who taught me at Columbia, who's a great fiction writer, he said, he was like, okay, this is so annoying that I'm doing this right now, but I'm already on the way. Okay, if you're not watching, basically I have a couple objects in front of me. He was like, it's way... like, you don't write a story where you have, like, 2 objects and then, like, 90% of the way through, you're like, third thing.
Like a deus ex machina.
Yeah. He's like, what you do is you, like, everything's out there from the outset, and then it's about how you mix and match it up. And I always, like, really took that to heart. And the problem with the article called, what is it called? The Problem with Wanting Men?
I literally didn't even read it.
Oh, we can talk about it another time in more depth because it has endless fodder for annoying behavior. She doesn't reveal one of the most key pieces of information until the article is almost over, which is just like, let's take aside all the like culture war, all the polyamory war, whatever, all that stuff. Like, you just cannot write an article and then you drop in. It was like a bomb went off at the very end of the article that she tried to slip in unawares. Do you know what I mean? Like, that maybe you wouldn't notice.
That she had a child.
That she had a kid.
And that she left her husband.
And then she left her husband.
To pursue sexual liberation.
I mean, she's a little vague on it, so... But it's sort of like, you can't write an article about how it's so hard to want men because none of them want you back, and then drop in super late in the game that you had a husband who fathered you a child, and then you just decided to leave him. Do you know what I mean? Your argument that it's really hard to find guys is like, just doesn't super hold water.
Totally. Like, some of us can't get a single man.
I mean, come on. Do you know what I mean?
Not
so, like,
me, personally.
No, not Sarah. And then I'm... on divorce number 2. So also not me. But I am currently single, and I thought the gall on this bitch.
Gall. Yeah, totally. And like, I think that it's just, and I think we'll get into this later, but like what has been sold to us as freedom, like, for example, sexual liberation in the form, like, I do believe that sexual liberation from, like, I don't know,
being burned at the stake for orgasm, or I don't like, or like, you know, genital mutilation.
Yeah, or like having to have babies when you don't want to, you know, like having to have 11 children, 20 children because your husband's
just won't stop.
Yeah, like, to me, that's not a life I want, you know?
No. 5? I would do that.
Sure. But so what was my point?
No, your point. Here's your point. Your point is like, it can't be that the left's position on kind of like our social relationship romantic lives is just like ultimate hedonism and also putting childlessness above everything else, because quite literally, if that's who your political base is, there won't be a next generation to vote for you.
I don't necessarily think that's the left's position, but I think that culturally there's a little bit of this narrative of like, it's a little bit of bread and circuses. It's like, oh, like, why don't you try like an open relationship? Like, you know, and then meanwhile, there's no material improvements to society. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, you're unhappy, you're unfulfilled by your
corporate email job?
Yeah, like, why don't you try having sex with a bunch of other people? You know what I mean? Like, maybe that'll be that'll distract
so
you.
it's being posited as a personal fix to a structural issue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of making this up. Like, and
I mean, I think you're right.
And listen, like, I'm sure it works for some people. Clearly, there's some freak. I don't want to call them freaks, but some like exhibitionist freaks who then write a book about their exploits rather. But it's, yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, just recognize you will be accused of being in poor taste, and that will be correct. It's like totally fine. You can do that, but then for people to get their feathers all ruffled, it's like you made a choice, bro.
Yeah, but I think I am a little bit of a prude. Like, I was talking to this person who writes vampire erotica. Yeah. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, I actually do really want to write like a fairy smut book because that's all people really want to read anyway.
I would never read it on principle. It's very similar to my vibrator perspective. But anyway.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't, Francesca. But I'm talking about like most people. Uh-huh. And I'm talking about if you want to make money writing. Yeah. It seems like fairy smut is the way to go. But I'm kind of like, I am a little embarrassed to write about sex.
I think it could be really interesting for you. You know what I mean? I personally, I don't know do you want me to blow up your spot on the podcast?
I don't know about what.
I think you should write Catholic smut.
Oh, yeah.
That is like
Fleabag shit.
Yeah, but no, but beyond. Yeah. Like illicit Catholic, like set it in like the 1910s. You know what I mean?
What happened in the 1910s? Like just pre-Vatican II?
Yeah, pre-Vatican II. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking like I remember seeing Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence with Daniel Day-Lewis and who's the chick who looks like my mom?
Hillary Clinton.
No. She doesn't look like her. It'll come to me. She played Catwoman in Batman. She's such a babe. Michelle Pfeiffer. It's a beautiful movie. But back then, it was like I always remember thinking like, it's like you showed like your wrist or an ankle and like, like that was enough. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Where like small gestures meant huge monumental things. I just feel like everything's like all subtleties lost. It's like I was listening to just pop songs and they're all so explicit and like I'm also a little bit of a prude. I just think like some things are better left unsaid, you know? And I'm like, these pop songs, they're just so crude. They're so tasteless. I just feel like it's nice when things are hidden and below the surface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would love social mores. I guess like repression is sexy. Like repressive environments breed really high stakes sexual romantic dynamics, which is like all I'm looking for is high stakes no matter what.
Yeah, I imagine the vibe at the nudist colony is probably, actually I can speak to this because I just came back from the nudist colony with my polycule. No, I was at a nude beach this weekend.
Oh, fun.
And it's mostly attracts older men. And I saw some things that I really would rather have not seen. Some things that I thought might require medical attention, quite frankly. But, you know, I was like, there's nothing sexy.
Like elephantitis kind of situation?
What's that?
Enlargement?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It does require medical attention?
I would imagine that this person was aware of it. God bless him, wherever he is. But he seemed like he was enjoying himself. Just enjoying the sun and the sea. But, you know, there's nothing sexy about that.
You know what I thought? I had a revelation in your house, actually, because you have a framed drawings of like sort of sailor style tattoos. And all of a sudden when I was looking at that, I realized like back in the day when those tattoos probably came from, like late 1800s, is that when that started?
I don't know. I have to ask my tattooer friend Victoria Logano who did that drawing.
Well, we can get confirmation. Probably sailors would have that tattooed on their arm because they were out at sea for so long. That was literally the only woman they would see. Yeah. So like, and also somebody, I don't know where on the internet.
Like they would put the women on the ship, you know? Yeah,
because it's not just like a symbol. It's like literally they had no bitches to look at. Like that was the bitch that they looked at.
Yeah. Bitches, Francesca.
Sorry, I know. I'm not supposed to use that word anymore because I've been getting called. Look, I just want to be clear. When I say bitch, it's the same as chick.
Yeah.
It's like that person who identifies as a woman over there, but like casual and colloquial.
Like that bitch?
Like that bitch? That bitch. That's my bitch. Or
Yeah.
like, that's my bitch. Do you know what I mean? It's
We're
not,
all bitches
It's
here.
not derogatory. But I am going to try to cut down on it because people got so overreactive. The point is, I was reading on the internet, Sarah, and on the internet it said like thousands of years ago, you would maybe see one gorgeous woman, like truly gorgeous woman in your whole lifetime. And then the rest of the time you were just like in your town and you had all the like whatever. And now we are inundated, right, with beauty and with like physical desirability constantly. But imagine being like back in the Middle Ages and like there's maybe one hot chick in the whole province. And so just getting like a look at her for a moment is like life-changing.
Yeah, Helen of Troy. You go to war for that
woman. You go to war for that woman because there's literally no other bitches to look at who are that hot.
Totally. I mean, I wonder if it's going to go back in that direction with plastic surgery, making everyone look so similar that anyone who like looks apart from that has an interesting, unique look will be.
I saw a gorgeous nose on the train, like a gorgeous, beautiful nose.
Yeah.
And I almost wanted to take the person aside and say, I love your nose.
You should.
You know, I mean, it felt like it would have been a little bit inappropriate, but
someone complimented my skin today on the train.
Oh, you do have fab skin.
I actually was feeling like it wasn't that good, but the man next to me said, he asked me if the train goes to 96th Street, and then he said, can I tell you something else? I was like, sure. He goes, you have beautiful skin.
Oh my God.
I was like, thank you very much. I'm really glad you told me. So compliment that stranger.
You know what? I was like really wanting, it's so funny. I was like, why will nobody ever talk to me on the train? You know? And then yesterday somebody started talking to me on the train.
Oh, what'd they say?
King Marvin.
King Marvin?
That's what he called himself. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. He was like, you're a dancer. He was like a real character. I didn't ask why because it felt invasive, but on one half of his face, he had a full beard. And on the other half of his face, it was totally, like clearly he had, I mean, I don't think it could have been natural. Clearly he had like shaved to have the drama face, the smile and the frown simultaneously. He was also wearing like a plaid suit, like a 3-piece plaid suit. And it was like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's funny. It's like, be careful what you wish for. Do you know what I mean? Or like the wish isn't always going to align exactly with the idea.
Oh, 100%. You'll probably get King Marvin chatting you up, but it honestly sounds
No, it was totally
fun.
lovely.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a come on. It was just a meeting of weirdo souls.
Yeah.
Which like I really get that pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for that.
Totally. Wow. Well, I'll report back to the polycule. Yeah, I think I'm just like, I wasn't like people getting in fights with each other in the comments. I just didn't realize until I guess recently that like how much energy people expends on the internet arguing.
So much arguing. I mean, I love to argue, so I found it really invigorating at first. But then I think people willfully misconstrue. And there's nothing more tiresome than arguing with someone who willfully misconstrues your words.
I know. I'm like, like, what if we could harness all this energy? Honestly, I did get in another fight in Dan Goleman's comments. And
Really?
Yeah, I did invite. I actually
invited someone else to coffee?
Yeah, and he was like, I'm going on vacation with my family, but when I get back, I'll think about it. Because I said, like,
is he cute?
I think he's like a middle-aged guy with family. And
yeah, never mind. Okay.
Wait, for yourself? I was like, and I'm married. For yourself? No, he was going hard on, we were arguing about Palestine, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of insinuated that I was anti-Semitic. And I said, I'm Jewish, bitch. And he said, no, you're not. And I was like, I literally don't know how to respond to that. And then I was like super like, feeling really riled up about it.
You know what you could say? You could say like, actually being Jewish is an ethnic group. So I am.
Well, he said Shabbat Shalom to me. That was the thing he said. And that's why. And then I said, I'm Jewish, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he doesn't know anything about me. Like, my photo is not a real photo of me.
Oh, right.
And my name, there's nothing. He doesn't know anything about me. He just thinks because I'm arguing against the slaughter of innocent people in Gaza that I am anti-Semitic.
Yeah. I mean, should I talk about... Wait, how did you resolve it? So the resolution is maybe he'll have coffee with you?
Yeah. I just said... and then, because I felt bad that I said bitch, because it was aggressive.
We're gonna... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When people get aggro, I'm gonna get aggro back. I guess that's what I'm trying to... I guess it's good to be not aggro.
It doesn't really like get me anything or anywhere, like I don't get a satisfaction from it. I just feel more upset and aggressive.
See, I don't feel really upset about any of it. I just think I'm very careless. I want to work on being a less careless person, Sarah.
Okay. Cool.
But I don't want to also be like peace and love in the comments either. How about incisive? But removed?
Yeah.
That
sounds good.
Okay.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah. So to be incisive, can I report on Ezra Klein's
latest episode of his podcast? Yes, which I didn't listen to because I just can't.
Yeah, well, don't.
Okay.
I just will say, to pat myself on the back, I always knew that there was something ideologically deeply suspicious about Ezra Klein. And I knew if I waited patiently and wait long enough that he would reveal himself to me. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, Sarah, he has. Because the length to which he goes in this new episode of his, where he brings on a genocide scholar, and both a scholar and a lawyer, I believe, someone who's actually tried cases in front of the International Criminal Court. Mm-hmm. The lengths to which Ezra Klein twists himself around and backwards to not say that what's happening in Israel, in Palestine, and in Gaza is genocide.
Even though he invited a genocide scholar on?
Yes. And it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
And not once do either of them ever just come out and say, yes, it is a genocide. And the only reason that the genocide scholar says that he thinks it's possible it might not be successfully tried in the court, which it never has been before. No country has ever been by the ICC, International Criminal Court, been proven to have committed genocide. He says, because in the legal definition of genocide, it's that it can be the only intent for the actions was genocidal. It can't be that they had genocidal intent and also self-defense, right? So because Israel can claim not only are they just, what did they say? We're going to treat them like human animals. There will be nothing left. All that stuff we read last time. Because they also were acting in self-defense after October 7th. It won't qualify as genocide. Now, the scholar himself says he thinks that is a mistake in how the law is written and it should be changed. So basically, the reason that they don't say this directly, but you can tell rhetorically it's what they're doing. The reason they never out and out say that what's happening in Gaza is a genocide is because it does not follow the poorly written law that the scholar himself says is a mistake and should be changed.
Yeah. And I mean, the catch-22, I feel like, of this whole situation is that it's only ever going to be recognized as a genocide once it's complete. And everyone can look back and say, like, oh, all of the other reasons that Israel used to I mean, I think Hitler used other reasons to justify
what he was doing.
100%. So it's like, yeah, like in retrospect, I'm sure we'll all agree that it's a genocide.
The thing that I found most insulting about the whole talk was that they kept talking about how, especially this genocide scholar kept talking about how, like, it doesn't actually matter what we call it. We shouldn't be getting caught up on semantics. What's important is what's happening is terrible and we need to help fix it. And I'm like, okay, so if you don't want to get caught up on semantics, why don't you just call a thing a thing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, why are you spending this entire podcast about the
dancing
semantics
around? And then they're talking about, like, what is the social import of genocide? And Ezra Klein goes on and on about how the social import of it is like the only thing that people socially mean when they say that is like the Holocaust. And clearly this can't be like the Holocaust because the numbers aren't the same and it's not industrialized the same way. And I just felt like the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The length to which he had to go around and around demonstrates to me that Ezra Klein does believe it's a genocide, but cannot let the conscious part of his brain see that and just say it for what it is.
Yeah.
It was painful to listen to. And now I feel that all of my suspicions have been verified and I see his weakness. And it's, time to take him down.
So what did you think of him before this?
I told you I had vague suspicions, but I had no evidence. And now I have evidence, Sarah.
But what were your suspicions? Wait, sorry, I'm confused. Like but he's never said it was a genocide before. Like he hasn't been.
I just mean I was suspicious of him in general as a liberal darling and like the thought leader of the left. I was suspicious that there was something, to be annoying about it, fascistic? I don't want to say that. There was something, well, this is going to kind of get us into like the article we're going to talk about. Like there is something ideologically impure underneath.
But what has he been saying about Palestine this whole time? Nothing?
No. He says occasionally he'll say something and it's always sort of like, oh, this is so sad. It's sad.
But isn't that the evidence in and of itself? Like if he's like one of the main, as we'll get into, like he has access to a lot of speech.
Yeah. So like if he really cared, he could have gone on this crusade. If he single-handedly, as I think I even said this last time, so I'm just beating a dead horse. If he had pushed hard enough, I believe the editorial board of the New York Times would have come out against the war much, much earlier, which would have swayed both Kamala Harris and, War Criminal Joe and it could have deterred them from their unceasing support of Israel. I believe that that's the kind of power, that's the kind of intellectual capital that Ezra Klein has. I mean, he's the one, people credit him with being the one that got Joe Biden to like leave the ticket and Kamala to come on. Because he was very early on. Yeah. He was very early on. He was like the first big person to say like Joe Biden should step down. And then it happened. Now can we say blah, blah, blah? Who knows, right? But he's clearly very powerful on the left. So I just feel like Ezra, if you really cared about Palestinians, if you cared about Gazans, you could have done something, and you can't even bring yourself now. I mean, it was also amazing because they were like quoting all the stuff, like 90% of all buildings leveled, like Hamas never stole aid, like you know what I mean? But like, so the cognitive dissonance that they have to maintain to like put out all these statistics, all these facts, and then stay, but still, and they also just wouldn't say like, you know what? We refuse to call it genocide. They fucking pussyfooted around it all the way.
Yeah.
On every side. And like, it's intellectually dishonorable. It's an abdication of responsibility and it's intellectually dishonorable.
I think it goes past that. I think like the fact that the New York Times, like the way they reported on the journalists that just got assassinated. So Israel just assassinated 6 journalists in Gaza in their media tent. And like the headline in the New York Times was like, oh, like Al Jazeera says that Israel killed, and like if you go through the New York Times headlines, it's like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And then anything having to do with Gaza is like Hamas health officials say, or Al Jazeera says. And
alleged. It's like it puts all this distance and passive voice and makes it seem like not plausible.
It's like, did they kill, like, the 6 journalists are dead. They're dead in their tent. Mm-hmm. Someone dropped a bomb on them, So I don't think it's just dishonorable. I think it's evil.
It'd be cool to like take the New York Times to court for genocide.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if we're going to get... I feel like every international body has just proven how completely useless and incapable they are. Mm-hmm. Like the UN, the ICC. It's just there's no real power there.
Like the US has made it such. Do you know what I mean? Like we are not subject to the International Criminal Court. You know? Mm-hmm. Like we built it that way. We built it that we could be the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah. American exceptionalism.
Yeah. I mean, the post-war project is over, Sarah.
The post-war project?
Yeah.
Which war? The
World War II, like we started, we started this like the Pax Americana, right? And I just feel like maybe it's good that this is out there. Maybe it's good that Trump is like truly bringing it to an end with a sledgehammer, because like ideologically it was never really true. Like was there more peace? Yes, but like we were always finding ways to worm our way out of accountability, the United States. You know, so maybe it's good that Trump is just like just destroys it all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's like it, you know, something that we've talked about before is like, yes, maybe there was more peace in the traditional sense of like we were not actively at war, although we were often, but like there's so much violence like through sanctions, you know, like bureaucratic administrative violence that like actually does cost people their lives, even if it's not like a gun. But yeah, now Israel's saying that they want to resettle Palestinians in South Sudan, which is in an active civil war. So I really don't know how much more genocidal you can get than that. Relocating people from their homes to
another active genocide.
Yeah, to basically, it's like a death sentence, you know? And then in the West Bank, they just approved like a massive settlement that's going to completely cut off the West Bank from Jerusalem.
Really?
Yeah, the West Bank they're going full force over there.
I mean, I just feel like is it maybe time to say that like Israel is pursuing the final solution when it comes to Palestinians?
I think that's very clear. I think they've said that. I think it's on the record, and I think the world does not care. It's just, it's really just fucking depressing.
Just the irony. It's just the irony is so, it's like you can't write this shit.
I mean, the deep karmic wounds. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But yeah, all I can say is like, thank God like Zionism is not Jewish people. You know what I mean? Like, thank God, because like this is fucking evil.
Yeah, totally.
People are still starving to death. You know, it's just horrible.
It's like really, it's basically as bad as it gets.
I don't know. I keep thinking that like we've gotten to the worst it can get in Gaza, and then it just gets worse. Now, like they're like people are like the aid is falling on people and killing them. Like it's so. Yeah, I mean, we've talked. Yeah, I don't. There's
nothing more to say.
It's kind of beyond words. But in other news, did you see Trump federalized the police force in D.C.?
Which I think this brings us very much to our topic at hand today.
Yeah.
To the Andrea Chu. Am I right? Is that her name? Article. Basically, she has it's like ostensibly a review of this guy William's new book.
Thomas Chatterton William's new book, Summer of Our Discontent, The Age of Certainty and the Demise of Discourse, which kind of covers from the 2008 election to the Gaza protests and is like very focused on the impact of the George Floyd protests, which he views as like pretty negative.
Yeah. And he's like, I guess he's like has he posited himself as like the black scholar thinker, like in opposition to Ta-Nehisi Coates?
Yeah, totally. He's kind of like, I'm post-racial, but then like,
but I'm also, I would like to carry the helm.
But I'm also
post-racial, but I'm going to carry the helm of black intellectualism in opposing Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah, he kind of fancies himself like a successor to Baldwin. And like all he does is write about race, but then he's like, I'm post-racial.
Totally. So he's like, you know, got a complicated personality.
To say the least.
But what's so interesting is like to talk about wokeness. Like, yeah, I mean, we're obviously going to talk about it for a while, so we can get into all these different facets. But the idea that like wokeness is ideologically violent, right? That like it's restrictive and censorious and all this stuff is like, okay, yeah, sure. But the difference between like the left, like being scoldy nags, and then the right, which is like literally federalizing cities and picking people up off of the street and sending them to different countries to illegal prisons. I mean, just like, it's like the critique of the degree of what's happening here is worlds apart.
Charging a man who threw a Subway sandwich in the face of a federal agent with a felony. Okay? I'm like, I'm sorry to use your language, that is some pussy shit. You're talking about masculinity. You're talking, you know what I mean? And like this guy who got...
Or the guy who got carjacked, big balls. That's why the federalizing all started, because this like Doge staffer who was 19, whose name is like Charlie Big Balls or something.
Wait, what?
You don't know about this shit?
Charlie Elephantitis.
I guess his nickname was Big Balls because he's, I don't know, got a big personality.
Got those checked out.
Oh, okay. The dude was out with some chick late at night. It was like bitch. 2. So he was out with some bitch. He's out with his bitch. It's fine. He's 19, 20.
And he works at Doge?
Like a Doge worker. So he's like trying to get some pussy.
Do you know how hard it was for me to get a job after college? I'll go into that later. But then this guy, okay, big balls.
He's just like trying to get some pussy. But then he kind of gets like he gets like carjacked by these like, I guess like quote unquote a gang. Like sounds like a handful of like teenagers in DC who like assault him and they beat him up. And that's why that's the crime event that led Trump to federalize the city of DC.
Man up, big balls.
I know, I'm just like, big balls, like, couldn't take on some little tweens. You know what I mean? I'm just like, the messaging here is so all over the place. Also, like, yeah, if you're out at fucking 3 a.m. trying to fuck a bitch in your car, you might get in trouble.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Wait, did I just smear mascara all over my face?
Yeah, a little bit.
This is what I get for wearing makeup. Yeah, can you fix me? Yeah. Thank you.
This is what you get for wearing makeup?
Yeah, for being so vain.
You're so unvain. Okay, it's better.
Even I showed Adam. Adam was looking at the Instagram. He was like at the, you know how the videos, you know, you could get the screen capture of the video. And he's like, why are you picking these terrible frames of yourself? I'm like, I'm trying to be humble. But okay, so Big Balls.
So Big Balls gets caught. Look, this is alleged, but it sounds to me, if you put the pieces together, it sounds like he's trying to get some pussy in his car. And so he gets attacked by these kids. And I guess he gets hit and he's like got a little blood. Oh. You know? And so that's why Trump, I mean, obviously it's just an excuse. Do you know what I mean? Trump's been dying to federalize DC forever. But like, I'm just like, that's your violent crime spree?
Yeah, when actually violent crime is at a 30-year low in DC.
But this is the difference, is like, the left is supposed to feel ashamed about being annoying, and the right is like, you know, throwing people illegally in jail to rot for the rest of their lives in frickin', what country was it again? Where's C caught? Venezuela? No. El Salvador?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a matter of degree here, folks. You know?
Totally. So I suggest that we all take our Subway sandwiches and march to DC in a symbolic gesture of...
Yeah, get your pedophile sandwiches, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember the spokesperson?
Jared.
This is how deep the Illuminati goes, you guys. Jared, the spokesperson of Subway...
Was a pedophile? Someone else just recently came out as a pedophile.
What do you mean, like, publicly? They're like, I just want to claim my chair.
Some Republican representative in the House, I think, just got caught with, like, all of this child porn.
It's my understanding is that it's genetic, which is
pedophilia,
which is terrifying. Yeah, and it also can be prevented with androgen blockers, but obviously most people are, well, either too sick or uninterested in getting help and telling a doctor that they need them.
I did listen to once a very moving podcast about a person who identified as a pedophile.
I heard that on the, like, Dan Savage?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It was like years ago.
Yeah.
But it was someone who identified as a pedophile. Mm-hmm. And they recognized it very early on. And they were like, I want to get help for this. Mm-hmm. And they really struggled to get help because a lot of therapists were like, either I won't help you or I'm not equipped to. Yeah. And it was like about him seeking community with other pedophiles who believed that it was morally wrong. You know, it was very interesting.
It was interesting. And his brother was also a pedophile, but like gave in to the temptation one time and then killed himself. So maybe it was a different person.
Yeah, I think it was probably a different person.
I mean, maybe my most controversial thought ever. Should I share it right now?
We can always cut it out if it's too much.
I sort of personally believe that AI should be allowed to make child pornography, so actual children never have to be involved, obviously, because like there is those like people are going to find pedophilic content no matter what, and I think obviously AI should be put in place.
You know who else has that view? Ayala. Remember that girl?
You mean the psycho bitch who got gangbanged?
She got gangbanged, yes,
classes
as
together, Sarah.
For fun and for research purposes. No, she also came out with that, and people on the internet freaked out. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, but
I think like with you, like. If you know in the SAT test, like you had to do like pineapple is to fruit as dolphins are to, do you know what I mean? You had to do those comparisons.
Yeah.
I think like Gaza is to you what child pornography is to me. Like I can't read about it or engage with it or I sort of go insane.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I definitely also feel like that about child pornography. I actually can't really like consume anything where like children get hurt. Like Lord of the Flies.
Dude.
It's actually specifically boys for me because I have younger brothers. So like when I hear about like when there's a movie and there's a character who's a little girl, I'm like, you're going to be fine, you know? Cause
really? Oh no, mine's all about little girls.
Well, now you have girls.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm like with little boys, like I couldn't read Lord of the Flies because I was just like too, you know.
It's brutal.
I know, and I just have like I feel like little boys need to be taken care of, and I'm like little girls like you'll tough it out. Like my husband's always saying he's like more scared to have a girl than a boy because he feels like, you know, whatever.
Sure.
But I'm like little girls, we I mean we
women,
can raise ourselves.
Yeah, women always make do. I was actually somewhere reading about the story The Little Match Girl and how it's the saddest story ever.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe I'd reread that and just feel really sad.
Should you read it on the podcast?
I could. Hans Christian Andersen?
Yeah, but she dies in the end. Spoiler
I mean,
alert.
I think she's like yeah, I mean I think the idea is like she's sitting there and she's home, like I mean they wouldn't use this language obviously. She's homeless. She
because
sells
Zohran
matches.
Mamdani wouldn't give up his rent controlled apartment. Did you hear that? Andrew Cuomo's tweet.
I know that he wants him to leave his rent-controlled apartment.
He called for him to leave because the single mother and the little matchmaker girl could be living in that apartment.
So, but no, it's even worse than that, Sarah. She has no mom. All she has is her matches that she sells, and it's a freezing night in London. All she has is her matches. She literally just sells matches. And so she's sitting on this stoop, and she sees a shooting star, and she thinks that she thinks, I think her grandmother told her, I could be totally butchering this, so this is my interpretation. Her grandmother told her that when you see a shooting star, that means somebody who died, who loves you, is thinking of you. And so she sees that, and she's like, well, my grandmother died, and my mother's dead, and my father's dead, and there's nobody alive anymore who loves me. And she tries to keep herself warm with a match, and in the morning she wakes up frozen to death.
What was up with Hans? Why was he so dark?
It seems like he was a homosexual whose relationships were fraught. To say the least. So could not find his lover.
He took it out on the children in his stories.
Yeah. But honestly, I think it's good to sort of, I don't think the Disney-fication of storytelling, of fables, is a good thing. Like, I don't think it was good for me in my love life, Sarah, to think things would always work out. I think it's actually better to set a baseline for children, which is like I'm going to get fucking dragged for this. Like expect disappointment. Just expect loss, expect sadness, because honestly, that's mostly what life is.
We start a competitive company with Disney where it's just like really, really dark children's content.
But everything, I mean, look, I can go through, okay, Sleeping Beauty. You know what happens in the real Sleeping Beauty myth? She gets raped hundreds and hundreds of times.
What?
By the princes who pass through as she's asleep. She comes to because finally she wakes up, there's hundreds of babies surrounding her that she's given birth to because one of them finally sucked the thorn out of her finger. Okay, in another version of Sleeping Beauty,
how have these babies survived?
it's a fairy tale, in another version of Sleeping Beauty, all the wives, all the princes who came, they were already married. So the wives come and they take all of her babies and they cook them and make her eat them. Okay, in The Little Mermaid, it's so painful for her to walk when she gets feet. It's like knives are going through her. None of these stories are happy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And children were more prepared for the world when.
Yeah. I believe.
Yeah.
Spiritually, mentally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean.
But your kids are watching Disney.
But, well, that only started. I can't. I'm not at liberty to say what started that trend, but that was not how it was.
I know, but I'm saying you would never read one of these stories to your children.
I'm honestly really contemplating about balancing out the Disney movies with the original stories they're based on.
All right, report back if you decide to do that. I'm skeptical. These girls are running around in their princess dresses 24/7. So
That's true. They care about. They were like, what princess dress are you going to bring? And I was like, they're like, I would like the pink one. And I was like, okay.
yeah.
But you know what? I love that. I also read, God, we're really discursive today. I also read this story once years ago. It was maybe one of the best short stories I've ever read. It was in the New Yorker, and it was about some town, some small village. I don't know if it was like East Africa. I want to say East Africa. And this man, his family had been like cow herders. Anyway, they had like the cows that they had, like they always had them adorned with flowers, and like they would garland them and they would perfume them so that the cows felt beautiful. Because when the cows felt beautiful, like they were happy and they gave more milk, And I just think about like my children who just like are constantly adorning themselves, And I just realized like it's important to adorn yourself. That like when we adorn ourselves, we feel special and we feel like we have value. And then often we impart more value into the world.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying that I feel like this, like reading these horrifying stories to your children just doesn't really fit your parenting brand. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I agree. We should all...
But like, I wish I had a beautiful cow who I could make her feel so special and like put flowers all over her all the time.
I think the moral of the story is that you are the cow.
But also literally the cow was, something about that to me was so touching.
Are you about to cry? Yeah. Totally. I could get like a cat.
Yeah, I was thinking I really want a Bengal cat. I always have gotten, strays and the riffraff, but now I'm like, maybe I'm ready for a fancy kitty.
I'm anti that.
I know, I'm anti that too, but I just want beauty to be gracing itself all over my house every day.
But you can be like they set it up like it's like an online dating profile. You can see all of the cats. Yeah, like you can see photos of the animals before you adopt them for like I think a lot of the shelters. So you could peruse in theory.
I have been feeling like maybe some company would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, cats are amazing.
I love cats.
Same.
Somehow we got so far away from wokeness.
I know. We'll get back to Andrea Long's show. I think we basically summed up the article. Adorn your cow. And no, just kidding.
I mean, what's great about reading her, and because I had read criticism of her before saying that she just does hatchet jobs, which, you know what a hatchet job is, like a book review where they just like tear them a new asshole, which used to be sort of the norm. But then I actually worked at this magazine called The Believer that Dave Eggers started all these years ago that was then like about positive literary criticism, which was like so 2000, I don't know, 2 or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what? God bless the hatchet job. Do you know what I mean? I want my critics to be ruthless, cutting, and take no prisoners.
Well, I think there's a reason that she has become so popular and, respected is because it's fun to read.
But also, the criticism of her that I heard was that, like, somebody was like, what is she like? Because she's literally never said that she liked anything. Which I, like, also totally get as somebody who's a snob. And I think it's cool.
She likes Valerie Solanas.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
I read her book Females like a couple of years ago, and it was pretty heady, but it's about her journey as a trans woman, and then it's kind of parallel to Valerie Solanis's play, which I can't remember the name of the play, but Valerie Solanas shot Andy Warhol, and she wrote the Scum Manifesto, which was basically like advocating for men to become eradicated and to become like completely irrelevant to society. I forget, why did she shoot Andy Warhol?
I don't know. I'm honestly don't like Andy Warhol very much, so I feel pretty uninterested and neutral in the whole prospect.
Yeah, well, that's same. She shot him. So yeah. I think he like maybe made a career promise he could not keep to her.
Well, he seems like a man who made a lot of promises to women and then neglected them and let them die of heroin addiction after cultivating all the fame and gathering all the glitter from them that he could possibly get to make his art seem relevant.
Totally. He said something once about Edie Sedgwick. He was like, basically like to the effect of like, I think she's going to kill herself soon and I want to be there so I can film it. Like really twisted shit.
Like a real fucking scumbag.
Yeah. Totally.
We're not big Andy Warhol fans over here.
No.
Anybody who's obsessed with Andy Warhol, I'm always like, are you deficient in human sympathy? And like, is there no divinity to your taste? Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, he's like the anti-sublime. Have you ever read Kant's? Oh my God, dude. It's because it's so hot in here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's the problem.
No, I've never read any Kant, I don't believe.
It's about like the sublime, whatever. It's really interesting. But I would say Warhol is not sublime.
Yeah, and I think he knew that, you know, or I think he kind of figured out how he could hack, you know, his way through the art world and make a ton of money.
It's kind of like Gordon Gekko is the sublime. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like that 80s thing of like, it's just money. It's just exploitation that becomes sublime. Which is sort of, did you see that article also about that's like the headline article about this, about the cryptomaniacs who were torturing people?
Yeah, I mean, I read about them. I didn't read that article.
To me, that's like, I was like, oh, that's like when your head gets so right wing. I mean, clearly they were just criminals, but like deeply informed by right wing ideology. I would say. I was like, oh, that's what happens. You like torture people and use chainsaws. Do you know what I mean?
Were they torturing him with a chainsaw?
Yeah.
These are like those those people who like got this guy and kidnapped him in this townhouse in the West Village to like try to get his Bitcoin password.
But the kidnapping part is unclear because he was staying there like of his own volition. It's mostly they just sound like drug addicts. You know the scene in Boogie Nights where they're like Alfred Molina and his little like rent boy. It's like their whole life is like that scene. Like with the firecrackers. Yeah, it's just like drug addicts also, I would say.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you're not going to find yourself in that situation. I mean, they were all like smoking crack and like doing pounds and pounds of cocaine. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm not worried about finding myself in a similar situation.
I'm just sure that when you're that high, like cutting somebody a little bit with your chainsaw doesn't seem like the worst idea.
Yeah.
Is it that we don't want to talk about wokeness? Is it that let me not, what is it called? Project. Is it that I don't want to talk about wokeness? Yeah, I mean, look, I think wokeness is really annoying and really dumb and should go away.
Well, so let's talk, let's give a little overview of the article.
Yeah, please.
So as we mentioned, it's a book review by Andrea Chu. And by this guy, Thomas Chatterton Williams. And he's kind of this like very centrist liberal who believes that, that's him. Yeah. He believes that we had like this brief moment in time, which was when Obama was elected, where we had like achieved this golden age of like post-racial equality. And then that was shattered. This is so weird and random.
It is weird.
That was shattered when Obama said after the death of Trayvon Martin that Trayvon Martin looked like he could have been Obama's son. And that by Obama identifying with this dead black child, he like basically opened up the floodgates of identity politics. That is definitely one of the most insane takes I've ever heard, I will say.
Totally.
I don't honestly know how to respond to that. as a result of Obama identifying with Trayvon Martin, he opened the door to this new era of identity politics, which was jet fueled by the George Floyd protests. Mm-hmm. And as a result, we are all in this murky area of like DEI and anti-oppression, which is limiting free speech. And, you know, as a result, the right has picked up so much steam from the left's obsession with wokeness and anti-oppression and DEI. And like what's actually just been achieved is that there's like this cottage industry of people like, you know, Robin DiAngelo, who's writing White Fragility, and people who are like DEI experts and consultants and all this stuff. And that, you know, it's really like the privatization of social justice, which Thomas Chatterton William feels like the left is like, that's the achievement of their goals, whereas Andrea Chu is arguing like, no, like the progressive left doesn't feel like that was the end goal. It's for like gushers to like be issuing statements of Black solidarity.
Which was like, gushers wouldn't be gushers without the Black community.
Yeah. It's like, okay, no, like that's not what
the goal was.
Yeah, the goal was like, how can we imagine a society where like Black people are not regularly getting killed by the police, which is real and still happening. And like to that end, the George Floyd protests like did not really achieve that, you know. And I think that we were all kind of instead handed this, oh, here you go, like, you know, we all now have land acknowledgements on our website,
and the JP Morgan Chase presenting pride, that kind of thing, the corporatization of it, of social justice, with a lack of any actual justice in our society in a concrete way.
Yes,
just like TM advertisements, like Target doing all the like gay families photo shoots and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which I have some experience with.
Yes.
Should I share?
I think you should share. Yeah, everybody needs to know.
Okay, so I got canceled. I used to work at a nonprofit, which I will not name, but you know, like during. Actually, this was before George Floyd because it was before COVID.
You're right.
Yeah, so it was a little ahead of the time. I mean, it was like a nonprofit in Brooklyn. It was
always going to be ahead of the curve on that.
100%. So we got into some. They hired an anti-oppression consultant, and the anti-oppression consultant did a couple of things. One of the things that they did was give a few presentations, which I can talk a little bit more about that. And then they also started these caucuses. So there was the white caucus and the black caucus. And essentially it was like affinity groups for people to talk about either their experiences of being racist or their experiences of
being on the receiving end
of racism. Yes. So I was like at the time probably 24 and I was, you know, like A+ student. Yeah, A+ student, teacher's pet, musical theater nerd, you know, and I was like, obviously, I am here to put an end to white people being racist. And so I signed up to be one of the leaders of the White Caucus.
Oh, you signed up? It wasn't assigned to you?
No, I volunteered.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
And so we would meet and we would sit in a circle and like basically talk about how we were racist. And it was like this very, you know, sometimes we'd read something and it was like this very self-flagellating group that like obviously at work the vibes were off. You know what I mean? Because it's like the white people are getting
pre this or because of it, you're saying?
Because of it. That's not to say that the workplace was like free of anti-oppression and racism, but it was definitely like you have to understand too, it was a nonprofit, you know? So when I got hired in 2017, I was making $13.50 an hour, you know, with my like big college degree. And when I left, I think I was making like $46 maybe $1,000 a year, which like living in New York is like, you know, it's not much. So like some of the, you know, like some of the presentations, we'd all be sitting in a room and like one of the things was pronouns, you know, which like I'm a fan of pronouns. I think people should use their preferred pronouns. Like who gives a fuck? Like, you know, but like I guess some people don't use they them. Some people have other pronouns.
Right.
The only person I've ever heard of who has another pronoun is Taylor Mack, who's a performer, a performance artist.
Oh, yeah, but who also does 24-hour-long performances. Do you know what I mean? Clearly already in a special category.
And uses the pronoun Judy in honor of Judy Garland. So I'm like, you know, that fits.
Okay. That sounds a little bit indulgent, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah, but like, okay, if you're going to be a performance artist, go for it. Yeah. But I guess there's other people who use like Zer and like
this is not real.
It
is real. You're telling me it's real.
I have never experienced it.
Okay, got it.
I have a lot of people, I know a lot of crazy they thems for Kamala, you know what I mean? But like I have never met anyone who uses a different pronoun than they them.
Totally.
I'm sure they're out there, but I feel like living in New York, knowing a lot of queer people,
we would have met them.
The majority should be here.
Yeah.
But like the absurdity of, so then we all had to like stand up and do these exercises, like Mad Libs exercises of like conjugating like zers.
Get the fuck out of this is some, okay.
And like to see for example, security guards. Okay, so all of the facilities and security staff were Black people. They're also paid the least.
Yeah.
Some of them might have been unionized, so like maybe they were making something comparable. You know, like people had been there for a really long time, but like overall, they're making the least amount. So for them to like have to stand up and be like, Zer goes to the movie with like, you know.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And so that was the shit that we were doing, you know? And
that is right-wing catnip right there.
Of course.
Because it's absurd.
It was absurd. And like that's, if you're gonna go into theater, like you're kind of signing up for that, you know?
But the security guard didn't sign up for it.
Certainly not.
It's disrespectful.
It felt that way. And like there was other things, like they were gonna hire some sort of compensation equity consultant to like do a study on like if we were paid fairly or not. And like I literally in a meeting was like, why don't you just give the money you would give to the consultant to us? Because I feel like in the nonprofit world, there's like this, you know, like, well, we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it for the love of it.
Yeah, but it's like, you could be fighting for social justice and ripping off all of your employees so that they can't fucking survive to live. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like that's why I left, because like the pay was like demoralizing. And like although I do love the arts,
and it was a very and I also just want to say it was a very prestigious institution. This wasn't like Podunk Central. Do you know what I mean? Like the fact that like the pay at like one of the most prestigious institutions is like the pay is pennies on the fucking dollar of the dollar you need to live in New York. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and now there's no funding from the arts, you know, from the government. Like America is not an arts friendly government compared to like European.
I've heard when you go to Europe, if you just like, it's like to get a grant, it's like just going to an ATM. You're like beep boop 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 bop, and then they give you like $17,000.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be tight?
That would be tight. Fuck, we should go live. I was just reading about this author who was like, I moved to Berlin because
I'm not that into Berlin, to be honest.
I'm not, and I'm so sick of reading books set in Berlin.
I know, it's like literally such a visually boring city. It's so flat. You know, which to me is like the great sin of a city is to be flat.
Yeah.
In my being a native San Franciscan. There's just no dynamism in it. So like then to like even going to Berlin sounds like a drag, but then to read a novel about Berlin, do you know what I mean? It's like compounding how boring it is.
I'm on my second of the year and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, why are you reading that?
I didn't realize this one was set in Berlin.
We did.
Honestly, I need to talk to someone about it. If anyone's read Sister Europe by Nell Zink, please let me know because I'm very disturbed.
Oh, you're disturbed?
There's some very weird stuff in this novel that is like kind of, I would say,
like made up weird or real weird, because I feel like people just like try to I just made a corny joke to Sarah, which is like, this is our episode about her getting canceled, and then we keep getting canceled by our technology.
Yeah, our pod track keeps dying.
Yeah.
All right, let's just speed this up. It's not honestly not even that interesting of a story, but basically I, as the white savior, self-righteous leader of the White Caucus, we also had like a group email that was just like White Caucus, so where you could just email all the white people. It's like, I'll bleep that out. But basically there was like this program to mentor high school students that I had been participating in for like a year at that point. And they still needed more mentors. So I sent out an email to the White Caucus and I said like, hey, I've been participating in this program. It's really great. I really recommend signing up. It's a great opportunity to be of service, which is language from a community that I am part of, and
it's like a set phrase.
Common parlance, yes. Yeah. I did not mean anything by it, but there was a white woman in the White Caucus who took me to task for oppressive language and for being like basically patronizing, because most of the students in the program were people of color. But like in my mind, I was like, this is an opportunity to be helpful to our community members. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't see this woman's point from any angle or position.
Well, so I was distraught for like days.
But yeah, it's basically like being publicly shamed in the town square.
Well, it gets even more shamey. So I was called into a meeting where this woman, who continues to friend me on LinkedIn to this day.
I think we should find her, Sarah.
No, let her be. We were all in a fever of
a hysteria of wokeness. It was a wokeness hysteria.
Yeah. And she called me into a meeting where she then recruited a black woman to like come to moderate the meeting.
Like a random black woman?
No. But like someone we worked with, like this was a White Caucus matter. And she like brought in a black woman to like do emotional labor of like explaining to me why I was racist. And I was like sobbing in the meeting, obviously, because I felt horrible. Like I felt like I had done harm,
I just want to tell you right now, Sarah, I think I also was telling you this at the time.
Yeah.
You did no harm.
Thank you. And I believe that now because I believe like my intentions were pure. And
also, you didn't even say anything crazy. You just said, I want to be of service, AKA I want to be helpful.
I mean, it's like literally called community service. You know what I mean? Like I was volunteering. I was not getting paid extra for this, And once again, it was like, we're doing this for the love of it. Whatever. Yeah. It was semantics. Then I got also something else brought up in the meeting was that I separately had an intern who I was like teaching my job. And at the like high school graduation ceremony, I had made a joke about like what a great intern she was and how she always did the credit reconciliation report, which was my least favorite task. And they were like, those high school students were not there to like do your grunt work. And I was like, I'm an administrative assistant. All of my work is grunt work.
See, this is like, to me, this is a witch hunt. I mean, if you were the ripest target, like, they must have too much time on their fucking hands. Do you know what I mean? Neither of those things is even in the realm of offensive.
I agree now, but at the time I felt very disturbed because it's hard when people are telling you like you're doing something.
That you're bad and wrong.
Yeah, you're contributing to the centuries-old problem of racism.
They were like, country. Sarah, you are oppressing black people even when you're trying to help them. That's even worse. How dare you fucking try to help?
And look, like we talked about this on our soft power episode. Like there is white saviorism, and I've participated in that on my missionary trips to Honduras and the Dominican Republic. Like I get it, but like at that point, I was genuinely like I feel like I was pure of heart. So anyway, I was basically asked to make a public apology, and I wrote it up. And then they made edits to it. And then I like edited it once and sent it back to them. And they were like, we still feel like this is not you taking full accountability. Because I think I did say something to the effect of like, hey, like I really didn't mean anything by this. And they were like, well, you are not, you know, like.
It's not up to you, Sarah, to say what it is you meant.
Yeah. So then they rewrote it for me again. And at that point I was like, okay, I'm not going to like apologize in someone else's words. Like I am literally an administrative assistant at a nonprofit.
Getting paid $46,000
at this time I wasn't getting paid 46. Okay. I think I was getting paid like 42. Yeah. And I was like, okay, like this is, you know, at that point I was like, I'm done. And then I sent out the public apology to the White Caucus. And my boss came up to me and she was like, what is this? Like, why? Like most people, you know, at the institution, like didn't even realize
that you had been getting dragged so hard by this fucking white bitch.
Yeah. So when people talk about like stuff like this has gone too far, I'm like, yeah, like,
for sure.
Could we be using our efforts more productively elsewhere?
But see, also like it's like the thing is that it's amazing that you like didn't then turn, because like that's very, very alienating behavior, and somebody who had wanted to help, somebody who would volunteer to be the head of the White Caucus, what a fucking joke, and had been like we're doing this mentorship program. Like the fact that you didn't become like bitter and black-pilled against them is a miracle, because most people on the receiving end of this kind of social behavior, group behavior, would never fucking look back. Do you know what I mean? They would turn into Candace Owens, you know?
Yeah, and I get why people feel like if you care about what other people think, which most people do. I know Francesca doesn't, but I do. It's like very hard for people to be like, you are bad, you are harmful.
Oh my God, I get all like a little thrill when you just say that. You're bad. I'm like, just fucking
you're a bad girl. Yeah. So I could see how I could be like, okay, like fuck this. But you know, I like.
You took it in stride.
Okay.
Guys, there's a ghost in the machine.
Yeah, we're having major technological difficulties.
It's the person who canceled Sarah.
And look, I wish her nothing but the best. I survived my cancellation.
Yeah, with flying colors. Flying colors? I don't know, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, so I think that it's like, look, I think that what happened in the last election is that people feel like because of the extremities of the right that we cannot criticize the left, or we cannot criticize the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just like a horrible.
We have to criticize the Democratic Party.
Absolutely. And I think kind of where Andrea Chu lands on in her review is that like one of the reasons that Zohran Mamdani won the election is because he did not shy away from
real issues.
Yeah, and from like his positions on Palestine, which everybody, everybody thought was too
nuclear. It was like kryptonite. It was, or whatever. No, it was like nuclear waste or whatever. Plutonium. I don't know. Whatever the fuck I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Radioactive. Everyone thought it was radioactive.
It's so hot in here, guys.
I know. But also, it's just like, I think we have a moral obligation to criticize the left when it's being ridiculously silly, which like the White Caucus is silly. Having an equity consultant come in they're being paid some insane hourly rate to see if the pay isn't fair when nobody's making any money is ridiculous. It's all ridiculous behavior.
And that's not to say that there was no racism or oppression in the workplace. Like there
Sure, but you don't need to I just don't think you need to like pay a bunch of specialized consultants who are just raking in dough. I just like, to me, most consultants, let's be real. Totally. It's not a real job.
And then because of COVID, the process kind of like, we never actually finished the process. So I feel like the whole institution was just like left with this like giant wound, which was then like gaping because so many people got laid off during COVID.
Yeah.
I will say like the one thing that came out of it, which was kind of like a parallel process, was that the staff unionized, which actually had real material benefits.
And I'm sure the institution was really unhappy about.
Yeah, they honestly handled it with more grace, I think, because it was we kind of seized our opportunity. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, like you want to do this anti-oppression, then like, it's
unions.
they pushed back not as much as they probably would have otherwise, but like that actually brought us material benefits, which like when all the layoffs happened during COVID, they were able to secure like better severance packages for people.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just think it's so, she's just really funny. You know
Andrea Chu.
Yeah, she says this one thing about like how, like, because the idea, Williams, this dude, the book she's reviewing, is like so against identity groups, and she just talks about how like even the rich, when it's necessary, are able to accumulate themselves into their own identity group. You know what I mean? Specifically to like counter Zoran.
Totally. Like all the billionaires are going to leave the city.
Yeah. They're doing like special fundraising just to. Yeah, I guess what she's saying is like that Williams is not a very deep thinker, which I think I'll show you his picture just one more time. I would say his style is definitely stuck in like 2004, maybe. The like collarless leather. Is that a members only jacket? Oh my God, what a loser. Yeah, I just feel like the left can be terribly silly. And we shouldn't let them be silly. Just like the kid in school. Like, you got to tease the bad behavior out of people. You know what I mean? I mean, this sounds pro-bullying, and I'm not pro-bullying. But, like, if somebody endlessly is picking their nose and it's third grade, like, you make fun of them until they stop doing it. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's something we've talked about on the podcast. Like, it's a little bit of social shunning, you know, is maybe a better alternative than like literally putting people in prison and deporting them.
Yeah. So and they just made Sarah send an apology email, but Trump would have probably sent her to Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of degree.
Totally.
But also I do think being annoying and being perceived as being annoying loses hearts and minds. So I do think it is the left's project to become less fucking annoying, while simultaneously recognizing that being annoying is no great sin in comparison with, you know, disappearing visa holders and green card holders and permanent residents.
Yeah, and I think for people not to get distracted by things like kind of these virtue signaling that companies do that then they drop as soon as like the administration changes. Like that's bread and circuses. That's not real change.
Yeah. What is this phrase, bread and circuses?
You know, it's like in Rome they gave like the slaves bread and circuses to keep them happy. It's like you give someone something, you know, to distract them.
Yeah. I mean, it is distracting. Annoying people are distracting. It's easier to get caught up in this circle of criticizing those who are annoying as opposed to those who are changing the bounds of our democratic society by federalizing a police force in DC because some kid named Big Balls was trying to get laid in his car too late at night.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I think, like, I do know people who did become, like, have a great fear of saying the wrong thing for many years. But now that fear comes with the threat of, like, actual political, legal retribution.
Yeah, retribution. Exactly. Like, you could be the fourth person on the byline of a kind of milquetoast op-ed at your university. Like... Remember that chick, Rose? What the fuck? Ozturk, and then you could get deported, or you could get like interned in some prison for months.
What was her name? Yeah, Ozturk, the woman that got detained for writing an op-ed. That was,
and she wasn't even the lead writer on it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, So is there like a cancellation problem on the left?
Not anymore, honestly.
Not anymore. And also, like, it never was really that bad, dude. Like. Which doesn't, I just want to be clear. Being annoying is bad. We should strive to point out when people are being annoying and get them to stop doing it. But that does not mean that it is actually causing grievous harm, like the harm that's being caused right now by the Trump administration.
Yeah, it was definitely an opportunity for me to grow in my self-esteem and like depend less on other people's approval. You know,
but you could have become like a right-wing influencer, Sarah. It's shocking that you didn't.
Yeah, because I believe in things like that racism is real. You know what I mean? But like,
not everybody's beliefs run so deep, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I just like see it. Like I just see people being brutalized by the police.
Yeah, but I think I think the problem with cancel culture is that a lot of people, if personally attacked, like that their principles don't actually run that deep at all. And so if personally attacked and put into an out group, they will like say fuck you and go run into that out group. I mean, I think that's just obvious.
Yeah, which I think is what is attractive about like Zoran, is that people continue to like accuse him of being anti-Semitic, and he continues to stand his ground and be like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm like, you know, this is what I believe in. And I think that Thomas Chatterton Williams is also like, you know, he's very wary of violence. Like he felt like the George Floyd protests where people going into the street and looting and rioting and stuff, which like there was some of that, but largely it was peaceful protests. I was at a bunch of them with my White Caucus sign. I am a member of the White Caucus and I support this movement. But it's like, okay, but what about the violence of, federalizing the police in DC, sending in the troops to LA? You know, it's like, and I think that it's a little bit of like how people, you know, saying like, Andrea Chu references this, but like, oh, you know, that the Palestinian protesters on the Columbia's campus, like they are doing hate speech, but then like physically, you know, arresting them or
violently
arresting them. Yeah. So it's like a little bit of this like victim rhetoric.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to be a victim, you know?
Yeah.
It's just not that sexy, you know?
Yeah. And also just like some people are victims and some people aren't, you know?
Totally. Like Trump. God bless him. He is a trashy nobody from Queens, but he's not a victim.
He's not a victim. The Trump family has made $3.5 billion since Trump got into office the first time.
We should do an episode about crypto.
3/4 of that money is from crypto.
Yeah, the biggest grift around. Yeah, I mean, he's just a criminal. And look, I come from a family of criminals. There's nothing wrong with criminals. I mean, other than the fact that they break the law all the time. But like,
there's a difference between like petty, like my ancestors were horse thieves, petty Irish horse thieves run out of Ireland, and like, you know, amassing $1 billion fortune
on the backs of the American people while selling them the lie that you're going to make life good for them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a karmic qualitative and quantitative difference.
It's one of Trump's, I think, biggest coups is to like convince people that he is like one of
them,
the 99%, when it's like he is absolutely not. I don't know. I guess it's just the way that he speaks, like his rhetoric.
Well, I think it's because he's from Queens.
His trashy looks. Yeah.
I literally think it's because he's from Queens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he'll always be from Queens,
which like love Queens. My family is also,
but if you want to make it in Manhattan, back in the old days, that mattered, you know, it meant something. Maybe it doesn't mean anything today, but like in the 80s, 70s, 80s and 90s, it meant something, and it'll never unmean it for him. And that's why he's that woebegone. Yeah, because upstart.
That's what he has that chip on his shoulder. He could have just waltzed in and been like,
he could have been like Zoran. He could have been like, I'm from Uganda.
I'm from Queens. I'm an African American.
But you know what? I'm not all that worried about it. But I think with Trump, it cuts deep.
Yeah.
You know, he's an upstart.
His hair, he just has a lot of insecurities.
Yeah, I think he's almost like mythic at this point, the way that I think about him.
My friend reminded me that like he raped his wife, his first wife. Did you know that story?
Ivanka?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she alleged that in court and then she retracted the accusation. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sure it was settling some financial deals, but that he was in so much pain after getting like a 4-line a hairline surgery that he like, and I guess she had suggested the place to him or something, and then he like raped her.
Something about the most atrocious part of that is the hairline surgery.
Yeah, he's like bleeding from the head. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
But you know what she said in the First Wives Club? She says, don't get even. Get everything.
Yeah.
And and at least she doesn't have to be married to him anymore.
Well, I think she's dead. So
she fucking died. And then they buried her in a really weird way, right? They like didn't put her where she wanted to be buried. Yeah, I mean, he has a long memory. He seems to take revenge quite seriously.
Okay, I literally feel delirious from the heat.
I know. Okay, so that's it. We're wrapping up. We hope you don't get canceled.
But even if you do,
you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, just take it in stride. It's a little.
It builds character.
Adversity is good for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Class dismissed.
Johnny,